Hi, how's it going? What's up? Hello. Yeah, so I am super excited to be going live today as always. Just started doing this YouTube live series and there I am. Turn off that. Don't want to hear my voice in my own ear. And so I'm doing this once a month. I'm going live to teach you a training. And yeah, I've been getting lots of good feedback. Really excited about doing it. If you are brand new, if you don't know who I am, I'm Kendra Perry. I am an online business strategist for coaches, specifically in the health and wellness industry, but we do have mindset coaches, life coaches, spiritual coaches, anyone sort of in health and wellness and personal development. That is my jam, and I'm here to help you blow up your business in 2020 and beyond. So, today we are going to be talking about selling. So, how to pitch your programs. And we're going to talk about how to do that without feeling really pushy and salesy, because I think no one really wants to feel that way when they're selling things, right? I think our perception of sales, we think of that door-to-door salesman who is trying to sell you a broken, shitty vacuum. And that's not what we're doing as coaches, right? We're selling transformation. If people sign up for our programs and they follow through, they can change their lives. Like, this is a big deal, right? So let me know if you are feeling a little bit uncomfortable with selling. You feel a little bit awkward. You feel like you don't know what you're doing. Just give this video a like and let me know. Okay, so selling, transformational selling, conversion is module 5 of my Wealthy Coach framework. This is what I teach inside my Health Coach Accelerator method. It's my signature program that helps coaches basically build a solid business foundation that can get them set up towards making that 5K a month and then eventually 10K per month. Okay, so the reason why you probably feel awkward or uncomfortable with sales is likely because you've never really been trained in it, right? You got certified somehow, likely, or maybe you didn't get certified at all, because you don't need to be certified to be a mindset coach. You don't need to be certified to be a health coach. So maybe you didn't even do schooling, but you're really good at your craft. You're really good at health coaching. You're really good at whatever type of coaching you're doing, but you probably haven't really pursued training in sales. And if you did go to a school, like a nutrition school or something like that, you didn't get taught that, right? That's not what they do. They're there to certify you in that particular thing. They're not there to teach you about business. And I wish they would actually teach sales in school, that sort of thing. I wish there'd be more training on this, because in the end, even if you're not in business, you're still selling yourself on a regular basis, whether that's to an employer for a potential job or whether that's like on Tinder because you're dating, right? And I think what a lot of us don't realize is that we are actually selling all the time, right? So if we use the Tinder example, like the online dating, like, what we put on our profile, like we're advertising. We're advertising ourselves. We're saying, I'm awesome. This is a little bit about me, and this is what I'm looking for, right? So technically we're all selling all the time. But yeah, a lot of us just don't feel super comfortable with it. And I mean, that's totally fine, right? But the truth is, if you want to build a sustainable business, and when I say sustainable, I mean one that brings in consistent income that doesn't burn you out. I'm all about sustainability in business, because a lot of times it doesn't happen. And a lot of us burn ourselves out, or we end up having to hustle all the time to just get the money. And we want income to be consistent and regularly coming in. And we also want you to be happy, healthy, and have freedom, because that's generally why we start our business. Okay. So I'm going to go into 5 different things that you need to consider when you are trying to pitch your programs. Okay. So I'm assuming that a lot of you are probably pitching one-on-one services. That's usually what my audience is doing, usually where they're starting out. You may have a group program, you may have a course. This stuff will still apply, but mostly we're talking about one-on-one coaching, because when you're new and starting out, you want to do the one-on-one coaching because that's what's going to fill up your bank account and get you the experience. And then from there, you can always scale. Okay. So number 1, excuse me, you really need to believe in what you are offering, right? You're never going to sell anything if you just think it's sort of good, or you're not sure about it, or you don't feel confident about it, people will really sense that energy from you when you show up online and talk about your program, and also if you're getting them on a sales call. So it's really, really important to actually fully believe in what you are offering and you want to feel confident that it's actually going to get someone the result that it's supposed to get them. Okay, so you might be wondering, well, I'm new, I don't have any experience. Like, what do I do when I don't have any experience? Okay, so I actually recommend what's called beta testing your program. And this means offering your program, you could do it for free. I usually recommend charging some amount because you do want people to be committed. People who get things for free, they generally don't care, they're not committed. So you might be able to find a family member or a friend who you trust to actually go through your program. Make sure that they have the same problem as your niche, as the people that you are saying that you're going to help, okay? But you really need to get someone to go through your program from start to finish. And if you could get like 3 to 5 people, that would be awesome. And so maybe you offer it at a very discounted rate, something that you're never going to offer again in the future. And the commitment or the trade-off is you're going to give it to them for super cheap, but they're actually going to commit to the entire program so that you can actually get the feedback, get the information, and ultimately see someone get a result. Because I really do believe you really just need to see one person see some improvement in what you're offering to believe in it. And remember, if we're talking about health and wellness, personal development, these are really like the human body is complex, right? And yes, there are people who you're going to work with who aren't going to get results because they're not going to do the work. They're not going to be committed. They're going to have something deeper going on that you're not aware of, right? Like it does happen, but I don't want you to focus on the people who you're worried about not getting results. I want you to think about the people who you can get results. And by, hiding, by not learning sales, that sort of thing, ultimately, you're doing people a disservice, right? Because the truth is, like, you've likely had your own health issue. You've likely improved personally, and you can help people. You have a lot of knowledge. You are an expert, and you don't want to hide that shit, right? Okay, so you really got to believe in what you're selling. And so if you haven't actually had someone go through your program before and gotten a result, then you do want to beta test it until you can get just one. And then you'll feel confident, okay? But something I just want to talk about confidence and having confidence in what you're offering. Confidence is not the first thing to happen, right? When you do anything new, you think of, learning how to swim for the first time. Like you probably didn't feel very confident. And maybe that's not the best example because a lot of us learn to swim when we're really quite young, but maybe you can sort of recall learning to ride a bike, right? The first time you get on the bike, like you're all wobbly, like you're really scared. And it takes a while to actually gain that confidence because the truth is confidence is not the first thing to come, right? Confidence is like the last thing to come, right? So this is what's really hard about being a new business owner is because you probably don't feel confident, and that's okay. That's totally normal. What you need to cultivate is self-belief. Okay. So this is the self-belief that you can make it work and that you are going to gain the experience over time and that you will feel confident eventually. Okay. So that self-belief is really, really important. I fully believe that self-belief is what allowed me to build such a successful business because I always had it. I always was like, I have to make this work. This is my only option. I don't have a backup plan. I'm a totally unemployable person. I used to get fired from jobs all the time because I clash with authority. So, I had a really strong self-belief that I knew I was going to do it. And even though I had a lot of setbacks and I felt really frustrated and I did have moments where I was like, I just want to give up, I had a really strong self-belief. So that self-belief is what will pull you through so you can get to the point where you've had enough experience to get the results. So the whole point of this and what I'm talking about is you really need to believe in what you're offering, right? Because if you don't fully believe in it, people will sense that. They'll feel that weird energy. They'll feel like something's off and they're not going to want to invest in what you are offering. So yeah, if that makes sense to you, give this video a like and let me know if you're on the same page with me. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment for me in the comments and let me know. I just have to cough for a second here. Excuse me, I have like a frog in my throat or something like that. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm getting some likes coming in, so I think you guys are with me. Okay, number 2 is really, really important. Okay, because a lot of coaches miss this. This is the big reason why they cannot sell their program. And you need to be focusing on the benefit and outcome of the program and not the features. So a lot of coaches try to sell their program based on the features. Okay. Features are basically the components of the program. So a feature would be an intake session. A feature would be follow-up sessions. A feature would be unlimited email support. Feature would be a video course. Features would be, a guide, a handbook, something like that. So basically, they're kind of like the components that make up a program, but they're not actually what sells your program. And people don't really understand why those things matter, right? They're just like, well, why do I need those things if I just want to get to XYZ result, right? So I actually, when I sell things, like, yeah, I mention the features, but it's not what I start with. It's not what I lead with. And when I do talk about features, I always talk about why they are important. Okay. So we really need to talk about the outcome and the benefit that that program is going to get that person. So let's say you are helping women recover from burnout. Okay, say that's your niche. Then you really need to talk about how your program is going to help them get there, because in the end, they don't really give a fuck what you do to get them there. They just want to know that you get them there. And a lot of times people don't care what they necessarily have to do, right? But they just want to know that you can get them there, right? If you were able to give someone a guarantee, you're like, I can 100% reverse your fatigue in 30 days, people would go for it. Obviously, we can't give people guarantees like that, but people would go for it because they just want to get the result and they want to get it in as quick of a time frame as possible, right? So you really got to focus on benefit outcome. And when you talk about benefit outcome, you're basically tapping into what's called emotional selling. Okay. So it's really interesting, but people think that humans are logical in their decision making, but a lot of research has shown that people are very emotional in their decision making. So I remember reading a study where people had damaged the part of their brains that generates emotions, and they were totally incapable of making decisions, right? Because we actually make decisions with our emotions, right? So what's going to get someone emotional is basically imagining not having that problem anymore that they are desperately suffering from. So we really need to tap into that benefit outcome. Now, Lori Kennedy, she's another coach who helps health coaches, and I heard her use this analogy once and I really liked it, so I'm going to copy this from her. But basically, let's say I wanted to sell you on a trip to Hawaii, right? And how I was trying to sell you on Hawaii was being like, well, like, we're going to pick you up at your house. You're going to get an airport shuttle and the driver is going to be super friendly and we're going to have AC in the van. And then we get to the airport, we're going to, you're going to have to wait in line for a bit. And, that's going to take some time, but it'll be worth it. And then the plane, oh my gosh, the plane, on the plane, there's going to be flight attendants. No one says stewardess anymore. There's going to be flight attendants. They're going to be really friendly. We're going to give you a meal. You're going to be able to watch TV. You're going to have a choice of all these shows. We're going to make sure the air temperature is really comfortable in the airplane. Like, do you want to spend $3,000 to go to Hawaii? So hopefully you noticed what I did there, but basically I'm trying to sell Hawaii on the how you actually get them there, right? But if I want to go to Hawaii, I don't really care about the flight or the airport transfer. I don't care about the airport. Like, those things don't matter because they're a means to the end. What I care about is Hawaii. So if you really wanted to sell me on Hawaii, you'd be like, we're going to put you up in a 5-star hotel. There's a spa. We're going to give you daily massages with like top end massage therapists, right? Like, you would really focus on the outcome and the benefit of Hawaii. You wouldn't try to sell me on Hawaii with the flight. So when we try to sell based on features, that's basically what we're doing. We're basically selling Hawaii based on the flight. But really, we got to be selling the end product, which is the transformation, right? So really, really important. So I hope that makes sense. Hopefully you guys are still with me. Cool. We've got, looks like we got 15 of you guys with me right now. Thank you for hanging out. Really appreciate it. Okay. The next thing is you really want to focus on how you can help them. Okay. And everything in your business as a coach is about the customer. It's about the client. Yes, you are the face of your business. It's your brand. A lot of your personality comes into the selling of your brand, but ultimately it's about them and you really got to focus on them. And so I see a lot of coaches out there being like, I'm just really excited about this. I'm going to do this and blah, blah, blah. And they kind of make it more about them and their excitement. But what matters is the person, right? It really matters the person that you're helping. So you really got to tell them what's in it for them. When it comes to anyone following you online, like there needs to be something in it for them. It can't just all be about you. So you need to become very customer and client centric, which means that everything you do is focused on the person whom you are serving. Okay. Next, I want to talk about a small shift that I want you all to make next time you're on a sales call. Okay. So typically with sales calls, we go into them with a little bit of desperation, this sort of desperate vibe, desperate energy. Because likely, well, if you're hanging out with me right now, you probably don't know how to sell and you're maybe not making the sales you want. And so when you have a sales call, you're like, I got to make this sale. I haven't made any money. I'm super broke. I'm stressed out about money. I want to get clients. I need to get experience. So you go into that call with this very desperate vibe, and that is a very dangerous mindset, because what that means is you are likely going to sell someone on something that is not right for them, or it's not a good fit for you, right? Because everyone who books a call with you isn't necessarily going to be the right client for you, and they're not necessarily going to be someone you can help. But when you're blinded by your desperate vibes of making the sale, putting so much pressure on it, then you will sign a client who you shouldn't sign. And when you do that, you waste that person's time, you waste your own time, and you waste their money. And that feels shitty, feels super shitty. That's where sales feels slimy and feels pushy. That's where sales feels really bad, when you sell someone to something that is not right for them, and they're not going to get the result because they're either not ready, they're not committed, or maybe they're just a really high maintenance client and they're going to drive you fucking insane. Okay. So you really need to practice this mindset of detachment. So you need to detach from the final outcome. And what you need to do is approach your calls with a serve first, sell second mentality. So the whole purpose of the call is to serve. You're showing up to serve. And you want to find the best possible outcome for that client, even if it means sending them somewhere else. It's a really hard switch to make, but I'm sure you have had the experience of signing a client that was wrong, and you had a gut feeling or intuition that this was not the right person, that you weren't going to be able to help them, or maybe that they seemed like their energy was really off and they weren't going to be a good fit for you. And then it just was a horrible experience for both people. And that person's going to give you a bad review. They're going to be like, that didn't work, right? And that sucks, because we really do want to create over time referrals, right? Referral-based practices. So we need to take on people who we only truly believe we can help, and we know that are ready to actually do the work and get the transformation, right? So you really got to come at this serve first, sell second mentality. So you got to ditch the desperation, let the desperation out the door. And maybe this means you need to go for a walk, you need to do a meditation, but you really need to detach from the final outcome and just show up being like, I am going to help this person and I'm going to help them get the best possible outcome, even if that means I'm referring them to a different type of practitioner, or I'm telling them that I don't think I can help them. Okay. And this is how you sell without being salesy, because in the end, you're trying to find the best possible outcome. And if the best possible outcome is you, your program, then you're not going to feel salesy and pushy and slimy, because you're like, if this person says yes to my program, it's going to be transformational. It's going to be life-changing, right? Life-changing. That's what we do. We change lives. So really, really important to ditch the desperation vibes, detach from the outcome, serve first, sell second. So hopefully you guys are with me right now. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. I have a couple questions coming in that I'll answer at the end. Okay. The final thing and this is true for a sales page, this is true for a sales call, you got to talk about the future. So you got to do something called future pacing, okay? So future pacing is basically where you paint the picture of what their life will look after they complete your program. So this is very much connected and tied in with step number 2, which is focus on benefit outcome. But future pacing, a lot of people make decisions based off of different tenses. So some people make decisions based off past, so past experience. So they want to know that you've helped people in the past. Some people are very in the moment, they're very impulsive, so they just want to know right now that it can help them and they will buy. And some people make decisions off of what their future might look like if they say yes to your program. So I would spend some time journaling and really write a story, paint the picture of what your ideal client's life will look like in every aspect after they go through your program. So if we use anxiety as an example, say you niche in helping women reverse their anxiety, and anxiety is a debilitating condition, right? When people are anxious, they're not their best selves. They don't want to go out and be social. They struggle in their relationships. They, get stressed out by watching something on Netflix. Like it's really debilitating. So when you get rid of someone's anxiety, you're going to do so much more than just make them less anxious, right? You're truly going to transform their lives, their relationships, their social life, right? So really paint that picture of everything that will change when they're not so anxious anymore, right? Because they're going to get better sleep. They're going to feel more rested, which means they're going to have more energy. They're going to be better able to do exercise because they're going to feel more comfortable going to the gym and working out in a group setting. So hopefully you see where I'm going here, but you really want to paint that beautiful picture of what their life is going to like once they go through your program. And conversely, you also want to paint the picture of what their life will look like if they do not deal with this issue. Because if we're talking about health and wellness, if we're talking about mindset, personal development, spirituality, when people don't deal with these things, they don't get better on their own. They just sort of fester and they get more ingrained and they get more complex and they get harder to fix. So we want to paint that really positive picture, but we also want to paint that more negative picture because people, they really need to see that there is a lot to lose if they don't go through your program. And remember, we're selling transformation. We're not tricking people. People sign up for your program and they do the work, their life will change. And that's amazing, right? It's amazing. So you really got to paint that picture as well. So this is something you should journal on as well, is painting that future outcome of what it's going to like if they do not solve this problem. Okay, so let's just do a quick summary, just recap what we just talked about. And then I have a few questions in the comments that I want to answer. And if you guys have questions, there's a few of you still on, let me know by giving me, typing a question in the comments. Okay, so number 1, you got to believe in what you're offering. Number 2, you need to focus on benefit and outcome and not the features. Number 3, you need to focus on how you can help them. It's not about you, right? It's about them. Number 4, serve first, sell second mentality, right? Ditch those desperation vibes. And number 5, future pace, both the positive and negative outcome. Okay, so this is a really good question. I'm always getting the objection that they can't afford it on my call. How can I overcome this? So this actually gives you, Tina, I think I'm saying your name right, really interesting information about your selling ability. So people spend a shitload of money on stupid stuff all the time. People will always find the money for things that they see value in, right? If I was a mechanic and you brought your car into me and I was like, that's going to be $1,200, even though you've maybe was a surprise, you weren't expecting to have to dish out $1,200 for your vehicle, you would find that money, right? You have access to that money in some way, shape, or form. People have access to money and they will, people who are signing up for your calls, people who are pursuing your programs have access to money. Yes, there are people in this world that do not have access to money, but they are not the people who are interested in what you are offering. Okay, so people will always spend money on what they see value in. So if you constantly are getting the I can't afford it objection, what that tells you is that you are not doing a good job of expressing the value of what you are offering to that client, okay, or to that prospective client. So they're having a hard time seeing how the price is worth the program. So again, this is going to bring you back to You need to focus more on benefit outcome. You need to focus less on features, and you need to focus on future pacing. So again, I would journal out the benefits, the outcome for every feature. You want to tell them, why is this important and how does this lead to the ultimate outcome that they want? And if you are getting that objection a lot, it really does say that you need to work on selling. And it's okay, because it's a skill that takes time to get better at. And in the beginning, you will do a lot of sales calls that you will not get clients from, and that is okay. It does take a lot of time to learn this and get comfortable selling and really perfect your sales process over time. So focus more on expressing the value of what you are actually offering. And another thing you can do with price is obviously offering a payment plan. That's another way you can overcome that objection. Okay. Next question from Maria. How long should a program be? Is it better 3 months or 6 months? So the length of a program should be the shortest possible amount of time that you need to get that person the result. So if you can get someone the result that they want in 3 months and not 6 months, then make the program 3 months, right? If you can do it in 4 weeks, then make it 4 weeks, right? People want to do everything as quickly as possible. Obviously, in health and wellness and personal development, it takes time. And so maybe depending on what you're niching in, you might need 6 months, right? It might be a more complex health issue that you are niching in. And so you might need the 6 months. But if you can do it in 3, always go for 3. Okay. Do I need to get people on a call before I make a sale? So it depends on what you're selling. If you're selling something that's over 1,000, so if you're new, if you're, a couple years, 0 to 2 years into your business, if it's over 1,000, you will typically need to get them on a call. As you get more well-known and as you get more credibility and more expertise, over time, you can sell higher and higher ticket without getting someone on a call. So recently I purchased a course that was $3,000. I didn't get on a call, but this guy is really well known. He's really big time. His program is really well known. He's got a lot of street cred, so I didn't feel like I needed to get on the phone to spend $3,000 on the course. But as who's someone who's not well known, then yeah, you're going to need to get people on a sales call. And then Kat says, any recommendations for sales call training? Okay, so I'm going to put this into the description of the video. I'll put it into the comments right now. I have a sales call workshop. It's a 2-hour workshop. It literally walks you through my entire sales process on a sales call. This is the same sales call process that I've used to sell hundreds of thousands of worth of dollars. I give it all away in this workshop. So I'm just going to put that link in the comments if you want to check that out. There you go. There you go. Yeah, it's a really good training. It's a recorded workshop. We did it live a couple months ago, but yeah, it's pretty juicy. Okay, cool. All right, guys. If you have any more questions, last minute questions, throw them into the comments. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If you want to get more business tips, I encourage you to sign up for my weekly business tip email. So I send out a business tip for your online business every single Tuesday. Let's see here. I think this is the link. I'm putting it in. And I try to make these biz tips really funny, really entertaining, really high value. I send them to your inbox every Tuesday at 8 a.m. And so definitely opt in for that. I just threw it into the comments if you want to connect with me and get more stuff like this. I drop YouTube videos every single Thursday. So next Thursday we'll have